What's up? Welcome to Trackletics Live, the ultimate show for all things track and field. Join us as we dive deep into the sport, interviewing track and field athletes, coaches, nutrition specialists, and more. Get ready to hear some dope conversations and gain exclusive insight into what it takes to become a top performer in the sport. Whether you're a seasoned track and field athlete or just starting off, this is the show for you. So make sure you smash that like button, hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Let's get into the show. Hey everyone, let's welcome
Hi.
Carly.
I'm good. It's a
How are
beautiful
you
day in
doing
California
today?
today, so I'm enjoying the nice weather.
Yes, it is. The weather has been
Yeah.
up and down. I'm sorry it hasn't been as good as it usually is. It's not a completely
Yeah.
beautiful sunny day, but it's
Yeah. Are
coming out.
you in
It's
LA
not
for
all
Mount
bad out
Sac?
here.
Oh,
I'm straight out of
okay, that's
Compton, but yes, I will
cool.
be at Mount Sac today. Yes, 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 and
Thank
I love the
you.
curls. The curls are popping. Yes, well, I just want to say before we get started, I want to thank you for joining us on this, podcast. I created Trackletics to highlight athletes like yourself so that we can help tell your story so people can get to know more about you. There's tons of content about, basketball athletes, football athletes, soccer, hockey. I can keep going. But we don't have anything for track and field, so I really just want to create a platform where we can highlight athletes, coaches, sports performance specialists, anybody that cares about track and field and has a story. We want to hear it.
I love it.
That's
We
what this
definitely need
platform
more
is
of
for.
it, for sure.
We do. So that's what we're here for. But let's get into it. My first question that I love to ask everybody is, what is your track story? Why are you running track? How
My
did you
track
get
story is
into track?
definitely a more unique one. I didn't start running until I was a junior in high school. And so I got cut from my high school soccer team. And so I was devastated. I was heartbroken, crying, whatever. But both my parents were runners. So eventually they kind of convinced me, why don't you try track, for the spring, to take place of soccer. And I was like, I don't know. I'm not really a huge fan of running. But I ended up giving it a chance, and I went out to the first practice, and I basically fell in love with it that first day. I still remember exactly what my first pair of spikes looked like, and so I ran track my junior and senior year of high school. I was running the 200 and the 400, and both relays, so I was a sprinter. And I did cross country my senior year. Hated it. It was horrible, but I was on a really good team with really amazing girls in California, and we got like second at state, and I got to be like the alternate and go, and it was a pretty amazing group of girls. But after I graduated high school, I was like, I'm not really ready to be done yet. But I wasn't necessarily good enough to go to a big school like I had wanted. So I ended up going the community college route. Still running the 2 and the 4 in both relays. And I went to American River College in Sacramento my first year. Um, didn't really do as well as I would like. And my coach was having some health issues, and I was kind of at the end of I'm like, okay, maybe I'm ready to, go be on my own and kind of be independent, not living at my parents' house. And so I ended up somehow connecting, going to a community college in Eugene, Oregon. And my aunt had lived up there, and she was like, why don't you come live with me for a year? I know they have a track team. I don't know how good they are, but maybe you could come up here, kind of get settled, and then figure out where you want to go after, being done with community college. So I ended up moving up there like after like 2 weeks of deciding. So it was pretty sudden. So I moved up there and I ran cross country, and I ended up being their best runner on their cross country team. And then I went into the track season, and I kind of started testing out the 800, but not really. And still running the 2 and the 4. I PR'd by quite a significant amount. And so then I started looking at D1s, and I started getting some offers from like Idaho, University of Idaho, Oregon State, Washington, a lot of like the PNW schools. And so, but then I kind of came to a decision. I was like, there's nothing really like Eugene. I loved it there. I had a lot of friends there. And so I ultimately decided to try out for Oregon's team, University of Oregon. And I went to the tryout and I tried out as a sprinter. And basically, they ended up telling me no. I hit the time for like the 30-meter fly and all that kind of stuff, and they told me no, that they weren't taking any more people. I was heartbroken. I was like, I'm never running again. This is horrible. But my coach at the time at Lane was good friends with the new distance coach at Oregon. So he got in contact with her and was like, this is crap. Like, she should be on the team. She's one of the best athletes, I've ever worked with. And so I ended up meeting with her in her office. And she basically said, like, I'm going to give you some mileage, but you are not a 400-meter runner. You're not a sprinter. You're a middle distance runner. And I was like, I don't know, but I guess I can give it a try to, be on Oregon's team. And so I did some mileage over winter break, and I came back, and she saw me do one stride, and she was like, yeah, you're an 800-meter runner, and I want you. And so from then on, and then I became an All-American, scored at Pac-12s last spring. And yeah, so that's kind of like a short what my track story is.
Wow, that is an amazing story. You didn't even want to be in track. You were in soccer. Parents told you come out for track. You gave it a shot. Started off as a sprinter. Me personally being a sprinter, I did run cross country in high school and college. They kind of talked me into it.
No.
And it's not easy.
No.
It's not easy. I mean, speaking about Mount Sac, I actually ran there in high school and college, and the switchbacks. I just could not understand, why would we not want to run like on a flat course? Why we got these hills in the race? Like, it's not easy. So much respect for you, run cross country as a sprinter and continuing to follow down the path, and have faith in yourself, really, and then trying that 800, the 800 is no joke, hitting that first lap, hearing them ring the bell, and it's like, dang, I got to go again? Got a whole nother lap. So I have much respect for anybody that runs those middle distance, long distance events.
Yeah,
it is not easy at all. It is a complete mental game there. So now that you're running the 800, how do you actually feel about the event? Are you loving it now? Like you said, you scored this past year at
I definitely,
how are you feeling about it?
Time, I graduated it with my master's degree in the spring, so I'm done. Thank you.
Congrats on that. That's huge.
And it definitely probably took until this last year, my fourth year at Oregon, to actually feel like I was comfortable running it, and like knowing how I race the event, because everybody races it differently, especially mentally. And it took a huge adjustment period, because the 800 is I would say is one of the hardest events, along with like the 400-meter hurdles, is like mentally a very tough event, especially in that middle 200. And it's like, whatever you run that in, you're going to most likely finish in. So it took a long time for me to be mentally okay with pushing myself in that third 200 and knowing that I could do it. But I've definitely learned to love it. It's its own kind of beast, and it's very challenging, and I love the challenge of it. And the training too is very challenging, which I love, because it's like you really are like right in the middle of, like borderline sprinting, but borderline distance as well. So it's a challenge, and I love the challenge. So
yeah, it definitely, for me being a sprinter, some coaches like to throw you an A for conditioning and, for the mental, all of that. So that first lap, I'm like, why are we sprinting? Like, it's no joke, and I've had the opportunity to meet some great 800 runners, like Alex Amanqua, watch him train, and it's really no joke. So much respect for that 800. But now that you're running the 800, what keeps you motivated to continue to train?
It's definitely been a challenge since I've graduated. They don't really prepare you for that once you graduate, go into like, the real world, especially when D1 athletes, especially runners, like they're really good, but they aren't necessarily good enough to get a contract out of college. And you see this a ton. Like I have a ton of friends that, didn't get a contract out of college, and but eventually do. Like they keep running, they keep motivated, but that period in between is really challenging mentally. So luckily enough, I still have, a new coach, and I'm training. But it's definitely been challenging having a full-time job. I'm a childcare worker, so it's, very mentally challenging on that end too. And so keeping motivated is been a new beast. It's like trying to, wake up every morning at 6 a.m., go for a run, and then go to work at 9:30. But I've definitely learned to make it, you know, a relaxing side of my life again, and like running because I want to, not because I feel like I have to. Um, and just having fun with it right now, and kind of going into like the next Olympic year, being like hopeful that I can, run some really fast times this summer and prepare myself. Hopefully to make it to even the trials would be a blessing. So yeah, keeping motivated, like keeping up with all the recovery, and just enjoying all the little things instead of rushing through them. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It is no joke. I know a lot of runners that did not get a, contract out of college, but are still continuing to pursue their dreams, train, try and make an Olympic team. And it's not easy, While you're at work, none of your coworkers understand what you're
Hmm.
going through when you're sore, you're aching, whether it's injury, I was just actually talking to a teammate about injuries, and it's like, it doesn't just affect your track career now. You don't want to be injured limping around at
Hmm.
work or on crunches, or, so you definitely have to stay on top of your recovery game. That is a major, major
Hmm.
key, being a post collegiate athlete, because an injury can literally just take you off track. Um, but what was it like competing at
I mean,
Oregon?
it's like what they say, it's magical. You definitely feel the Hayward magic, like especially with the crowd, and like being able to train in such an amazing facility every single day. It was like you were finding something new to look at every single day training there. I only got to race on the old Hayward Field one time, but even then, it was the same kind of magic I felt, coming off the final turn, into the home stretch. It's like you just like hear the crowd, and like you feel like the crowd pushing you. It was truly amazing, and I was like, oh, I wish I had more time where I could just train there every single day. But now looking back, it's I still feel the magic, because we would go on runs, like easy long runs, or just training runs, and we would see people on the trail, and they would just know exactly who we were. And I mean, of course we were wearing all the Oregon stuff, but they knew our, like, people, yeah, people would come up to us and they knew
They
my
know.
name, they knew my stats, they knew everything. Like I'd be at the grocery store and someone would come up to me and they would know. And it was just such an amazing city for that. And like I've never been in a place where track and field was appreciated so much. And yeah, I'm definitely super grateful for the whole experience, and I wish I could have more time, but I reminisce on it every single day. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. The Oregon track team is
Mhm.
really some celebrities. They do, people do know your times,
Yeah.
your stats. They know exactly who you are. So that's really dope. It's an amazing experience. Um, to be at that field. Like you said, you can feel the energy. If you had to choose, would you prefer old Hayward Field
Ooh.
or new Hayward Field?
I think the legacy, or the magic definitely carried on to the new Hayward Field, but I remember the first time I raced at Hayward Field, and I was still in community college at Lane, and I was running the 400, and I ran it against Raven Rogers. She killed me in that race, but it was still like running even such like a short amount of time. Like you're only running for like 50 plus seconds. It's like you feel the crowd pushing you, and hearing the roar for her, coming down, like that magic is, I would almost prefer the old Hayward Field. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Unbeatable.
Hayward, it's
Yeah.
unbeatable. Yeah, I've asked a couple athletes that went to Oregon. before,
Yeah.
and they were like, yeah, it's the new one is amazing, you know,
Hmm.
it's modern, it's so updated, but it's nothing like the old one, you know. Especially if you grew up watching the sport, you know, wanting to be there, wanting to compete there, then you get that
Yeah.
experience. Yeah, a lot of people have told me Old Haverfield. But out of all the schools you could have went to, like you
Mhm.
said, you had an offer to Idaho, right? Why did you choose Oregon? Like, what
I
what makes
think
athletes
the
choose Oregon?
legacy of it and how much depth they have, especially with all their coaching, the women that were on the team at the time that I joined, they I knew some of them, and they have such a presence in Eugene, and me being there already, not necessarily on the team, but being in that city, it just you're just drawn to it, and it's like it's a dream of a lot of people. Like once you live there, you kind of know it's like, oh, I want that, especially when you're a runner. And I would go and visit all these other schools, and I'm like, I was asking myself, would I be happy here if what if I got hurt and I couldn't run anymore? Would I still be happy in these places? And I'm like, I don't think I would. But in Eugene, it was like, I would be 100% happy here, with the city. And, I loved the weather, and just being in an environment where so many people shared the love for running that I had. It's just, there's no question in my mind. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a vibe, you know, like as they call it, you know, track town. So that's one of the only places where track has so much respect. People know all the stats, know who all the runners are. You know, I've been to other states and they're like, "Oh, you play track?" No, we don't play track. So Oregon, like the
Hmm.
community knows what track and field is. Like they live it,
Hmm.
they breathe it, they die by it. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that's an amazing experience. Um, but if that's why you chose Oregon, um, what was the team like? What was the vibe like? You know, did you have some really close teammates? Like you said, you knew some of the girls. Was it a very close sisterhood? Like what is it like at Oregon there? It seems like everybody wants to go there, right? We see all the gear, the athletes that are there, the coaches, but what is it like to
I
actually
think one of the
be on that
coolest
team?
things about, the athletes at Oregon is how diverse they are. We had, especially with the distance group for the women, we had women from all around the country. One of my best friends from Poland, and it's like we all ended up in the same place, and we got to get to know each other, get to know different cultures, and get to know each other, like, and become so close. We grew up on completely different parts of like the world, but we came together at the same place and shared the same love for running and became best friends. And I think that's just the coolest thing. And I'm still in contact with all of them, and I have friends in South Africa or Italy, Poland, all these different places, Australia. And it's how cool, like, not a lot of people get to say that. And I think another cool thing about Oregon was that all of the event groups knew each other. Like, we all supported each other. Like, we would go watch, discus, and it would just be, so uplifting to watch, get the school record in the discus, and how supportive our whole team was. Like I feel like a lot of teams can overlook, especially the field events, and it's cool to see a team that comes together and supports every single event and gets excited for every athlete in a variety of different ways, because we all do different things. That's the cool thing about track and field. It's like we're the same sport, but it's almost like we train differently, and we're different types of athletes. And so I think that's one of the coolest things about Oregon. Yeah.
Wow, yeah, nah, that is really cool. I've been on some teams where it's like, oh, like the team is separated, and they're like, oh, they're just throwing down there. Jumpers are kind of playing in the sand. Sprinters are just always chilling. Like you guys have like three revs. Like where it seems like everybody
Mhm.
doesn't respect each event. So I know that had to be a great experience with having teammates and from all over the world, and everybody respects your event. They understand the work that you're putting in. They understand no part of this sport, no
Yeah.
event is easy at all.
Mhm.
Jumpers are not just playing in the sand. Distance runners aren't just jogging around the track. Sprinters aren't just like kicking back with three
Yeah.
reps. Like, it is all hard work for every event, for everybody that's, in the sport. So that's actually dope. But now that we're talking about the hard work, what was your favorite workout? What's something that, it maybe helped you feel fast, something felt strong in? What's your favorite workout?
This is a
Running
tough
workout.
one because I've always felt like I love just challenging workouts. Like I almost want to die in a workout. I'm like I'm ready. Like I just want to have a because like that feeling afterwards. I love that feeling, that runner's high
Right.
feeling when you're just like, oh, I just completely gave everything that I had in a workout. But if I had to choose, I would say we did this one workout. We would do like 3 to 4 sets of 4 by building 300s. And it's like you get faster each 100, but you're
Okay.
running like significantly fast. And so I loved that workout specifically because it always gave me the feeling that I could finish. And so I always had something left to give in that final 100. And I think that workout specifically gave me the confidence like in races. I'm like, if I can do that, then I can always finish. I always have something left in the tank, to push. And yeah.
That is nice. Wow. Okay. And like I was talking to my teammate Kevin, with these super hard track workouts, he was saying that he kind of takes that into life, and while he's at work or whatever he's doing, it's like
Yeah.
nothing is as hard as these track workouts. So if I could do that, I could do anything. So you doing building 300s, that, ooh, my
Mhm.
legs is feeling that just hearing you say that. But did you lift weights as a middle distance
Yes.
runner at
Yeah.
Oregon?
We didn't lift as much as, like the short sprinters. But we did a lot of Olympic lifting, powerlifting. Not as much as I would have liked because I had been used to, lifting as a sprinter. So I was, more used to lifting heavier and for a longer period of time. But once I got used to it, our lifts were super fun. They weren't extensive, but it definitely gave me a ton of strength. I built a lot of muscle at the time I was at Oregon from the lifts that we did, and we had an amazing weightlifting coach that I still use all the workouts that he had given me. Yeah.
What was your
I love
favorite lift?
cleans from the ground. I don't know why. They've always been my
Interesting.
favorite, and I love the a good old power clean.
Make you
Yeah.
feel like you're getting big, getting strong. Dope, dope. Okay. Now we got your favorite running workout. We got your favorite lift. Workout is over. What are we refueling with after? What's
Ooh,
your
a whole
favorite post
meal.
workout meal?
Um,
Yep.
I love making scrambles. Yeah, I love making. I
Okay.
always
How do you
do
make it?
like potatoes, any kind of bell peppers, avocado, of course, green onion, yellow onion, and I, saute it all in the pan. Cook the potatoes in the air fryer to make them crunchy, and then cook the egg. You always cook the eggs separately, and then you mix it all together. You throw your avocado on
Yeah.
top, everything but the bagel seasoning, and it's just that's my favorite. Yeah, post workout meal. That or an omelet.
Man, you got me hungry and I already ate breakfast. And speaking of the air fryer
Mm-hmm.
is a game changer, right? I throw everything in air fryer now, and I be thinking I'm a chef, and it's really the air fryer cooking it up for me. But yeah, that actually sounds good. What do you have like a favorite post workout drink? Drinking a smoothie. I have a teammate. He's like obsessed with like
Mm.
beet juice. I can't tell you why. Do you have a certain drink that you live by? Something you really
Ooh.
feel helps you recover?
I spent a lot of time every workout, every run after Oregon. I would have one of those uh, Gatorade, what's it called? Protein shakes. like the prepackaged ones.
Mm.
And they would always have them for us on
Yep.
hand afterwards. The chocolate one was always my favorite. Yes.
Yes, the chocolate is definitely the best. I was gonna ask you which flavor do you like,
Yeah.
but the chocolate is definitely the best. So I'm definitely wishing you luck this season. I would love to see you compete, and make an Olympic team. But what are your goals after track? You said you're working. You like what is the goals, right? Are you actually focusing going down that career path? Do you want to get a running contract? Like, what's the
I
goal?
definitely have a lot of, different dreams and different, varieties of life. I'm working in childcare work now. I work in a foster home, with kids with severe trauma. And so that's definitely a challenge too, along with running. But it's like what you were saying earlier, it's nothing like a really hard interval workout on the track. But I definitely love working with kids. I love, the clinical therapy side of working with young kids. So that's definitely a goal. I want to do that for as long as I can. But I would love to also get a contract. If the opportunity presented itself, I would definitely step away from, being a childcare worker and, live out, my dream of running, because unfortunately you can't do both. So definitely live out that dream and, once I'm done running, come back to it. And yeah, hopefully I can reach the goals of, going to the Olympics one day. I'm still young, so I have lots of time. Um, but yeah, hopefully getting a contract, making the Olympics, you know, finding, like really reaching that potential that I think I have. And just really running and loving and appreciating all of it, all the steps to get there. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, speaking of, working with children, looking back, what is something you wish you could have told yourself
Ooh,
as a child?
that's a tough one. I would tell myself a lot of things. I would definitely tell myself, ooh, definitely not that
Give
haircut,
me a
but
couple.
you go, girl. um, yeah.
Looking back at your
Yeah, my
yearbooks,
mom
like,
my
ooh,
mom
I
did me
shouldn't have
dirty a
did
little bit.
that.
I would definitely tell myself that, the sky's the limit. I don't have to limit myself to just one thing, and I'm smarter than I think, and I can, do anything I put my mind to. But my parents told me that all the time too, but I would definitely push that into my brain a little bit more. Yeah.
Wow. Yes. Well, you can definitely achieve anything you set your mind to. You have our support. I'm wishing you the best of luck. I would love to see you compete. Again, I just want to take a second to say thank you for taking the time out of your day to have this conversation with us. Really just wanted to highlight you, your journey, your goals, and,
Awesome.
continue to
Thank you. I
follow your
appreciate you having
career.
me. Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. You
Well, you
too.
enjoy
Bye.
your day, Carly.